wasn't a great effort for Ring of Honor.
This was not good. This was not a good pay-per-view from them. I mean,
Ring of Honor quality, not to the...
It was weak, but it wasn't Ring of Honor good.
I mean, if TNA did this, we'd be jizzing our pants.
We would. We would. We would.
But up to Ring of Honor standards, the Ring of Honor 10th anniversary show, like we said, overall, you know, wrestling quality, pretty solid, you know, not to the point of what we normally get out of a Ring of Honor pay-per-view. But we will now bring you a Ring of Honor 10th anniversary show review. Alongside my partner Ryan, I'm your host J-Man, and we're going to run down the card for you.
A bit winded.
A tidbit. Doing the yeses, and just that was the one thing we got out of the New York crowd tonight. They were just doing.
They got over that chant.
Doing over the Daniel Bryan, the yeses, which was just brilliant. Not a big fan of the New York crowds, but that was some pure brilliance out of them. We just decided to start like that. We hope you guys like it. We are tidbit winded here. Damn, take a deep breath, and let's start this up. First match up, we have the All Night Express going up against wrestling's greatest tag team.
Yeah, I mean, this was just kind of, I mean, it was good to see All Night back. I really didn't think. I mean, you got Rhett Titus chunking it up a little bit.
A little bit.
Been off a little while. Ain't worked out. I don't think he worked out his abdominals. You know.
I love Rhett Titus.
Rhett Titus, good guy. Yeah, but definitely, I mean, this was kind of like a, you know, just a slow kind of drag, and to the finish, it was kind of just out of nowhere, and it kind of just, I don't know, it was okay, but it almost seemed like it didn't really need to be on here. True, but it was okay. Yeah,
great to see a lot of the interaction. I know everybody's wanted to see, you know, the Kenny King and the Sheltons get in there, and they had a lot of time together. That was great to see. Kenny King looking, you know, and Shelton looking just amazing, you know, athleticism as they always do, and now as wrestling's greatest, you know, the heels that they are now, which is they're still trying to get that over, but the All Night Express getting a win over wrestling's greatest and really just continuing the fall down of Hoss and Benjamin, which is really interesting to see, just being tag team champions, you know, this past December and then losing it and now falling down and losing
opening match,
losing in the opening match of the pay-per-view. Really interesting to see that, but great to see All Night Express back. Hopefully they could get on their, you know, ways of the great tag team that they are on Wrestling's Greatest. It'll be interesting to see how they do there, but kind of a so-so start to the card there, and All Night Express getting the win. Next match up, Maria came out.
Yep.
Maria walked down the aisle. Maria stood next to the ring.
Yep.
Maria walked around a little bit. Maria got in the ring and did some stuff at the end.
She did a little bit.
Yeah.
She moved around.
She got pulled back out of the ring. She walked back up the aisle, and then Maria left.
She looked good.
She looked fantastic.
She looked
good. Some tassels. Looked like she might be going out for Cowboys cheerleading.
Mm-hmm.
Next match up.
All right.
We had the returning Amazing Red for this card, and TJ Perkins going up against House of Truth members Roderick Strong and Michael Elgin. This was a pretty good match, and really to the point of, you know, what I would think I would get out of this matchup. You know, the strong style of Roderick Strong and a Michael Elgin really showing their power against, you know, these two high-flying, you know, the speedsters of a TJ Perkins and Amazing Red. You know, just showing amazing athleticism, very interesting combos that they did with these two guys, and, you know, Roddy throwing them around and backbreaking them in every different combination he could. We were just mentioning how, like, Roderick was probably licking his chops going into this match, like, oh, God, I get to throw these, you know, 150-pound guys around. This is going to be a great night for backbreaking Roddy Strong, because it was. But in the end, Roderick Strong and Michael Elgin getting the win in a pretty fast-paced, entertaining ending to this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I liked this. I thought this was really good.
Yeah.
I thought they did really good with the spots. I thought everyone looked good in this. Yeah. I would love to see Red stick around. I know they said, please come back. You know, I think he's a guy in Ring of Honor that I think they're missing. He has that appeal to the crowd. They really don't have those high-flyer type guys. Cornette, obviously one of those guys that's kind of all about the traditional, you know, style of wrestling and not too much on the high-flyer guys. But, you know, I think this could work and bring him in there, and they really don't have anybody. But I really enjoyed this. I thought this was one of the better matches on the show.
Yeah, me too. It was really great stuff. Next matchup, we have the Ring of Honor TV title and Line 1 champion Jay Lethal went up against Embassy member Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah, I mean, this started off slow. They worked a little bit, and then they had some really good spots at the end, and they really got the crowd into this. Yeah. You know, and it went to a time limit draw. You know, I want to really see more out of these TV title matches. I know that a lot of them go 15 minutes and they get 5 more minutes, or they don't. You know, there really wasn't, they should have just done something more with this. It just really felt unneeded to just have a 15-minute match and then just, have a draw and then, Embassy runs off. I mean, there was some shenanigans, but I'd probably say last 3-4 minutes of this was pretty good, and the crowd was very into it. And it was a good wrestling match, but it was just missing. It didn't really have a climax. It didn't really have a big finish or an end to where I thought it should have. Yeah. But it was an okay, solid match, I think. Yeah,
like you said, kind of had that slow start, but really built up towards the end of this. And the end of this was really, some pretty solid stuff out of these guys. Like he was saying, once we've had these matches on TV, especially with the television title. We've had these, kind of time limit things where they go in there and have their little solid match. And this really felt like something that could have just been on TV. Yeah. If you're going to bring it on pay-per-view, you're going to need to have a finale, a kind of an ending to something. You need to have a finish to a match. The crowd was all chanting for 5 more minutes, and they didn't give it to them. Kind of disappointing to see that on a pay-per-view, and really Ring of Honor usually kind of provides what the fans really ended, wanting an end to something, and that's really what we wanted to this match. Looked like it could have been pretty solid stuff going on if they would have went to an overtime or a 5-minute period, but not doing that. Jay Lethal retaining the title off of a time limit. Interesting to see if they continue this down the road, obviously, with being a time limit.
Yeah, Ciampa took the title, didn't he?
He did take the title away, yeah.
Ciampa
ran out with the title or something like that. And then also didn't Princess Mia get her dress ripped off in this too?
He ripped up, and we didn't get to see it, but...
No, that started the yeses too. That was one of the yes parts. But Jay Lethal retaining via time limit draw. Next matchup, we have the Ring of Honor Tag Titles line. One champion, the Briscoe brothers, went up against the Young Bucks. This one was pretty solid, but not really up to the point that I thought this could have been up to with the great teams that were in there, as in the Briscoes and the Young Bucks. This really kind of felt like in just just cashing in their little, solid tag team match and getting out of there, not really wanting to bring something special out of this, which I really thought that they, could have produced out of this. Pretty solid work at the end, showing the, amazing high-flying stuff of the Young Bucks and the power of the Briscoes really getting that over. But this one really didn't get that much time either. It kind of really shocked me that the amount of time that this got, it really wasn't that much, and it kind of shocked me to the end. It's like, that's it? Like, that's kind of crazy. Yeah. But the Briscoes retaining the tag team titles in a kind of underwhelming match.
Yeah, this disappointed to me because I really was expecting a lot more out of this. And it was a good tag match. It just wasn't great, or it wasn't what a title match should have been.
We thought it should have been too.
Yeah, it should have been. It just seemed really underwhelming, like he said, and they really didn't just. I mean, they did some spots, but they really didn't put a long time and an effort into it as much as we thought they were going to. No. It almost seems like with a lot of these matches me and him talked about, they're really just, I think they're waiting to just put all their eggs in one basket at these showdown.
A lot of setup.
Yeah, showdown at the Sun shows, and I would expect hope to be those shows to be great. Because with the effort they gave here at this 10th anniversary, it almost felt like a throwaway show. Oh. But, it had some good stuff and some setup on it. But I think this was an okay match. I think they could have done better.
Talking about the good stuff, we're going to go to the MVP of this show, which was in the no DQ match. Kevin Steen going up against Jimmy Jacobs. Not to mention the amazing segment, which we actually forgot to talk about at the start of the show, having Eddie Kingston, the grand champion of Chikara, come out, and then having Kevin Steen interrupt him. It looks like they possibly set stuff up, having Kevin Steen basically shit on Chikara, say it's a Mickey Mouse little promotion, all this kind of stuff, and Eddie Kingston come up and saying, don't be talking shit about, Chikara and all this kind of stuff, and really having them butt heads at the start of the show, and then finally having this matchup here with Kevin Steen and Jimmy Jacobs. Pretty solid no DQ match here. You get your spots outside and here and there, the guardrails and this and that, the table spots that they did. Very interesting ending to this matchup, having, Jimmy Jacobs use that spike, as we've seen with Jimmy Jacobs before, go after, hit Kevin Steen, and then kind of fall back and then realize that, to me, what I got of it is kind of doesn't want to revert to being the old Jimmy Jacobs, the kind of brutal kind of guy, even though he came out in his, Age of the Fall gear, coming out with a jacket drenched in the Briscoe's blood from Man Up, which actually was pretty badass to see that. But kind of reverting back to that, dropping the spike and having Kevin Steen hit him, and then F5, just a brutal spot onto the side of his ribs, onto the chairs, and get the pin and the win over Jimmy Jacobs this match, Kevin Steen, and a pretty solid effort in this no DQ match.
Yeah, I mean, this was a solid no DQ type style match. It went the way I thought it was. It didn't finish the way I thought it would. It really seems like they're still working a storyline with the Steen, Jacobs, Carino. I think they want to try to do stuff with Carino and Jacobs, even now they're not in this scene with Steen doing the thing with him.
See Carino coming out like he just got done going to a Waffle House with his family.
Yeah, it's just
sweater.
Yeah, just a very casual Joe, casual Carino coming out there.
Casual Carino, very nice.
Very nice. We're gonna start using that.
Trending on Twitter.
Trending on Twitter, casual Carino.
We'll get to that at the end.
Yeah, But yeah, I mean, this, like I said, this was solid and pretty much what I thought. I didn't think it was going to be amazing because I didn't think they were going to really go through with a lot. But they did some really nasty spots in this, and they really let them get away with some stuff. But again, it just seemed like they kind of just are waiting to get to that next step, and trying to fill it in here. So
really setting up, as talking about with that segment with Eddie Kingston and Kevin Steen, really could see something obviously coming up with the synergy show, the kind of dual show combined with Chikara and Ring of Honor. Interesting to see if that match goes down with Eddie Kingston and Kevin Steen.
That'd be great.
It'd be great to see that coming up. I believe when is that, in April or
here,
something like that? April, May, something like that. It'd be interesting to see where that goes there. But Kevin Steen getting the win in the no DQ match. That will not be the end of Kevin Steen in this pay-per-view. Moving on now to the main event, titled Young Wolves Rising, between World Heavyweight Champion Davey Richards and Kyle O'Reilly going up against Eddie Edwards and Adam Cole.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of those typical type matches. If it was any of these four guys in a team against, if it was Eddie and O'Reilly team in against Cole and Davey, it would have been the same kind of style match. Yeah. They really did a lot of tandem offense with each other's teams. They did back and forth stuff like American Wolves, stuff. They did all kinds of spots. You could tell these guys have not teamed before. At least Cole and Edwards hadn't teamed very much or at all, because there were spots they were doing and it kind of looked kind of sketchy and botchy at certain times. But overall, this did what it needed to do and what I hoped it would have done, and that's get over Adam Cole, who I think it could be a major star in this company. Getting the win, like I thought. I was hoping he would get the pin on Davey Richards. I thought that was a really smart move. Yeah. And making it come out of this kind of looking like Kyle O'Reilly may be doing a heel type thing, saying he doesn't respect Eddie Edwards, he doesn't respect Adam Cole anymore. Davey Richards shake their hand, but he's like, no, I'm not doing this. And then we get to, would you like to talk about this first?
I'll talk about that.
Absolutely.
We'll get to that at the end. I'm going to mention at least something about this match. Before we get on, we got a lot of stuff to talk about here. We didn't even mention, speaking of Eddie Edwards, or as Ring of Honor likes to call him, Eddie Edrads.
Oh, yeah, that's
because
right.
of the absolutely terrible production value out of Ring of Honor. It really just seems like they just have 15 stoners in a production truck that have no idea what the hell they're doing, and just type Eddie Edrads, I guess is his name, or have a camera guy fucking sideways and then not get spots when they need to get spots. Just Ring of Honor needs to get their production value up to par, because it just seems like they don't even have people that know what the hell they're doing sometimes. Kind of interesting to see that. But as for the match, as he said, it really, either way they would have flip-flopped it, either tag partners really would have came out the same. It just, to me, they really were just getting over the setup factor. A lot of this stuff in this card is just a setup, and just having, Eddie and Davey kind of have their things where they're just beating the shit out of Cole and O'Reilly and really just looking back at each other and kind of just looking like that's going to be the setup to possibly another, Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards match, which, obviously would be great to see. But the overall setup of this was just really interesting how they did this. But it ended up being absolutely, a great matchup. As you said, it was, great to see Cole get the win over Davey. I thought that did make a lot of sense. As for the ending of this match, calling it Young Wolves Rising, it needs to have an ending of a younger guy kind of going over on the veteran or a younger guy, over the Ring of Honor World Champion, which was crazy to see that. But yeah, as he said, trying to have Kyle O'Reilly, saying how he doesn't respect Eddie Edwards and all this kind of stuff. I don't know if there's a lot of, Kyle O'Reilly fans out there, but to me, he just looks like the biggest, just Davey Richards cocksucker I could possibly imagine. He just is just an ass kisser, man. It just really comes off. He's a great wrestler, but it just really seems like he wants to be like Davey Richards 2.0 when he's like, hey, look what I do, Davey, I wear mouth guards like you. And it's kind of bringing down the value of Davey Richards. He's just got a little leech on the side of him. Man bitch is a good term for it. But a great wrestler, but it's just kind of, and then you harden up to Eddie Edwards. It's like, that doesn't look believable at all. But to save this segment, we had Kevin Steen come out from the crowd and just, save it again with his pure brilliance that it is. Basically really setting up that possibility of the Davey Richards and the Kevin Steen feud, which we saw back at Final Battle, see here again. What was the line? Jiu-Jitsu Jackoff, I believe?
Jiu-Jitsu Jackoff. Which
should be trending on Twitter. If it's not, there's a problem with Twitter, and it shouldn't even be around, because that is just brilliance. Saying that to Davey Richards and really saying how, Jim Cornette doesn't want this to happen, but Davey, you have the opportunity to make it happen in the long run, which obviously if this does go down, it's going to be something we look back in 2012 that will be amazing in Ring of Honor to finally see this feud. But Eddie Edwards and Adam Cole getting the win in the match, but the ending result is the remembrance of what made this stuff, a lot of this stuff, brilliant on this card, which was the MVP of this show, in my opinion, which was Kevin Steen, which was some just great stuff. Yeah,
he's been the MVP of a lot of these shows, and really going against the norm and basically just doing his own thing and really making that, just out of the box kind of thing. He came out earlier in the night. He was eating a banana. He had on like a
tuxedo
shirt
with a damn racket.
He had a Jim Cornette tennis racket. Had Davey Richards' face on it, picture on it.
Genius.
Just the setup and just how ridiculous and random he comes off. We were talking about this before. How over Steen is.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard if they feud Steen and Davey Richards, because the fans have already started just turning on Davey Richards, and they've really started doing that kind of thing with hating on him. And Steen's the Antichrist or the Nightmare or whatever.
Wrestling versus Nightmare.
Yeah, wrestling,
something like that.
Some crap like that. It makes sense to maybe turn Davey heel and try to work with him like that. But the fans already hate him. They're already hating on him. So, but I did want to mention though, I do like what they did with Cole, and I think that it really reminds me of what they did do with Tyler Black and Nigel McGuinness. They really had that build up a couple years ago, where they had Tyler Black jumping in there and randomly getting main event wins and rolling people up and doing this, and finally went to that main event level. I don't see that for a while out of Cole, you know. But if he ends up staying there as long as we'd hope. I could definitely see that somewhere down the line in the next few years. This guy getting up there.
It's a really good reference there. But yeah, like he was saying with Davey and the kind of setup that they're doing with possibly him and Steen, I think it makes a ton of sense just to turn Davey Richards heel. You already got his training partner, this and that, Kyle O'Reilly, kind of disrespecting Eddie and kind of looking like he could come off heel. If they go this entire year and it looks like it's going to have a long build, as though the last two pay-per-views have seemed like setups and. It's really looking like me and Ryan were talking about. If Kevin Steen and Davey Richards get in the ring, that match has to end with Kevin Steen winning the world title. Yeah. It really does. Doesn't matter what match it has to end with him winning the world title. So this setup, I think it makes a lot of sense, because every single time in Ring of Honor and over the past couple years, where guys have turned, fans have turned their backs on the champions, it's come off bad it doesn't look right coming to the end of their title run. It happened with Tyler Black. It happened with Roderick Strong. It just seems like that continuation of having them get over as champion, and having them want to so be champion, and then they finally become champion, and then they just slowly trend down with the fans. It would make a lot of sense to turn Davey heel. He is such a better heel than he would be a face, especially with cutting these promos. Like we were talking the Team Ambition promo, which is it's just coming off just super douchey, and it just shouldn't be that with Davey Richards. And I think it would make a lot of sense with just how fucking over Kevin Steen is going to be this entire year and how he has been. It would make a lot of sense to do that. I think it would really, work to their advantage in the long run if they ended up doing that. But very interesting end to Ring of Honor 10th Anniversary Show. This will now wrap up our review of the Ring of Honor 10th Anniversary Show.
1 second.
Okay.
Just one thing real quick here. Casual Carino, trending worldwide.
Yeah. Right next to Jiu-Jitsu Jerk Jacko. That has to be, those right next to have to be trending.
Casual Carino.
And if it's not right now, there's a problem. There really is. It shouldn't be. But this will now wrap up a Ring of Honor 10th Anniversary Show review. For my partner Ryan, I'm your host J-Man. Thank you for watching another edition of the Instant Wrestling Report, your source for best wrestling news, information, opinions, and scenes.
This is a battle.